Welcome to She is Resilient, a podcast for women on their healing journeys who are ready to start living their most authentic and empowered lives outside of survival mode. I'm your host, Tatiana, trauma and somatic therapist, as well as a holistic coach, and I'm on a mission to help more women heal their nervous systems. Each week, me and my guests are going to get real and vulnerable about the experiences that led us to becoming the empowered and resilient women we are today. You'll leave this podcast with the skills, knowledge, and inspiration to start creating the life you deserve. Because if another woman can do it, so can you. Welcome back to another episode of She is Resilient. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It makes me so happy to know that this little podcast community continues to grow, and I just appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in every week. So again, thank you for being here. So today we are talking about burnout, what true burnout really is, why we fall into burnout, signs that you're experiencing it, and most importantly, how to support your body when you're in burnout and hopefully prevent it from happening again. So, what exactly is burnout? Burnout is more than just feeling tired or stressed. Burnout is truly a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. It's when your nervous system feels so overwhelmed that you're just running on E on a daily basis. And burnout happens when your nervous system has been functioning from a state of fight or flight, sympathetic activation for a long period of time. Because your nervous system isn't meant to function from a state of survival for a long period of time. So eventually, your nervous system is going to shut down and go into a state of freeze, which is where burnout lives. So if you've been on the go, hustle mode, stressed, overworked, on high alert, or just really busy with a ton of tasks, this is your nervous system functioning from a state of fight or flight. And so eventually, you're going to fall into a state where you're feeling like you're running on E and feeling exhausted no matter how much sleep you get. And that is burnout. And again, that is your nervous system in a state of freeze or shutdown. I remember when I was living in survival mode, and I've shared this story before, but I'll share it again for those of you who are new and maybe haven't listened to all the episodes yet, but I was living in this constant state of fight or flight. I had chronic anxiety. I was working over 40 plus hours a week in community mental health. I had 2 jobs. I had my full-time job where I was working more than 40 hours, and then I had a part-time job that I worked on the weekends. I was also always tired and yet always on high alert at the same time. I remember I drank lots of coffee because I needed to stay awake, and I needed that constant stimulation all of the time. And I had no idea how to slow down and just chill. And I remember I would shower and just stay in my towel on my bed, scrolling social media for at least an hour before I had the ounce of energy to actually get ready for work. And I remember my days just dragging. I truly felt like I was running on E. And then when I would take time off, I would come back for like a day, and I felt like I needed another vacation. And it just felt like a never-ending cycle. And I thought at that point in my life, I thought that this was just what adulting was like. And honestly, talking about this now, I feel like it was a lifetime ago. I'm so incredibly happy that this isn't my life anymore. Since healing my nervous system, I have not experienced burnout. Do I have days where I feel low energy or tired or meh? Of course, because I'm human. But I haven't experienced true burnout in 5 years. And that's the beauty of healing your nervous system. Supporting your nervous system just becomes second nature. And so since shifting out of survival mode, I've had the capacity to live a more intentional life to prevent burnout from happening, which is why I always talk about living a slow life. Living a slow life that is not jam-packed with tasks, meetings, gatherings, social events, client sessions, and so on and so forth has really allowed me to just live more presently and slow. And my nervous system thanks me every single day for it. Because the nervous system loves slowness. It heals in slowness. And if your nervous system isn't used to slowness, so if you're functioning from a state of sympathetic activation, fight or flight, slowing down is going to feel really uncomfortable for you. And it might even increase your anxiety because that's not what your nervous system is used to. But unfortunately, what happens is that your body will force you to slow down. And that means your body might get sick, or you'll burn out, and then you'll really have no choice but to slow down. So in order to prevent burnout, we need to honor slowness and not spend so much time in a state of sympathetic activation, fight or flight. So let's talk about some of the signs that you're experiencing burnout, and then we'll talk about how to support your body when you're already burnt out, and then we'll end with talking about how to prevent burnout in addition to honoring slowness. So 5 signs that you're experiencing burnout. Number 1, chronic exhaustion. So like I already mentioned, you're not just tired after a long day. Being tired is normal. This is deep exhaustion and fatigue that doesn't go away even after you rest. Your nervous system just feels depleted, and your body might feel heavy, sluggish, or even numb. Number 2, a sense of detachment. So you might feel emotionally distant or disconnected from your work or your friends and family. There's a sense of like checking out or like not caring as much as you used to. That's a good indicator that you're in a state of freeze or in burnout. Number 3, brain fog. So you might have difficulty concentrating, you might experience forgetfulness or feeling like your brain just isn't working like it used to. You might feel spacey or zoned out. This is a sign of burnout, and it could also be an indicator that you're dissociating. And if you know that you tend to dissociate or you just want to learn more about dissociation, I invite you to go back and listen to episode 72, When the Mind Checks Out, How to Cope with Dissociation. I also explain the difference between dissociation and disassociation because the proper term is dissociation when referring to that feeling of spaciness. Number 4, increased irritability or overwhelm. So small things might feel like too much. So for example, like getting an email or making a decision or dealing with noise or social interactions. Your nervous system is just so maxed out. So your nervous system has less tolerance for these smaller things. And number 5, loss of motivation and joy. So things that used to excite you or energize you don't actually bring you as much joy, or they feel like chores. And this is often when people start to think, am I depressed? And when we think about depression and what survival state that's in, it's freeze and shutdown. So freeze is where depression lives, burnout lives, dissociation, chronic fatigue, right? So when you're burnt out, you could be experiencing these symptoms of depression as well. So all of these are signs that your body is conserving energy and shutting down non-essential functions, because the truth is your nervous system doesn't care about keeping you happy. All it cares about is keeping you alive. That's its number 1 job. Okay, so if you're experiencing one or all of these signs, then it's time to really pay attention to your body. At this point, your body is screaming for your help. And I always say, we cannot control what our nervous system does. It just reacts. We have zero control over it. but we can control how we respond to our nervous systems. So we can't force the nervous system to move out of burnout or out of the freeze state, but we can support our nervous system when we're in a freeze state, when we're in that burnout state, so that it can move out of that freeze state when it feels ready to do so. So here are 5 ways to support your body when you're noticing signs of burnout. Number 1, prioritize deep rest, not just sleep, right? Because remember, burnout isn't just about being tired. It's about your nervous system being depleted. And so true rest can look like laying on the floor with a weighted blanket, doing a restorative yoga session, or simply allowing your body to do nothing, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes a day. I love doing nothing, just being. If it helps doing nothing outside, you can lay on the grass, look at the clouds, listen to the birds, but not really having like an agenda, just being present. Number 2, nourish your body by getting your nutrients in. I don't know how many times I've said this on the podcast, probably a gazillion times, and I'm sorry if you've been listening to my podcast since day 1 and you're tired of hearing me say this, but it's so important in supporting the overall health of your nervous system. Undereating, inconsistent meals, and lack of nutrients will keep your body in survival mode. That's why it's the first thing that we focus on in Embodied Healing Collective. So making sure that you're consistent with protein, healthy fats, carbs, fruits, and veggies, because when your body is in burnout, it will deplete the minerals in your body like magnesium and sodium, which is also why we do mineral lab testing in Embodied Healing Collective. So adding mineral-rich foods to your diet to support your body. Number 3, gentle self-contact. So placing your hand on your heart, your belly, or wrapping your arms around yourself can help you reconnect with your body and access the parasympathetic nervous system. Remember, the nervous system's primary language is physical sensation. So slow, gentle contact tells your body, I'm here, I'm safe. You can even try holding your face with your hands and just notice the contact. Notice the temperature of your hands. Are they warm? Are they cool? Give it time, give it space. You can also try self-locating and making slow, circular movements throughout the body. Maybe some gentle pressure throughout the body, seeing what works with your body, with your nervous system, but just making sure that it's nice and slow. Number 4, gentle movement. Key word here is gentle. Gentle movement will support your body when you're in a state of freeze or burnout. If you're already in burnout, you should not be hitting the gym 5 times a week, going hard on high intensity workouts, or doing anything that requires even more energy. That is going to keep you in a state of burnout. Why? Because your nervous system is already functioning from stress hormones, and your body actually needs less, not more. I'm actually going to do an episode on what workouts you should be doing based on the state of survival mode you're in, so keep an eye out for that episode. So very gently and slowly inviting tiny movements into the body, maybe doing some light stretching, nice and slow, nothing too big. And number 5, cold exposure. Cold exposure, like a frozen ice pack to your neck, chest, or belly, can help your body gently move through the freeze state because we're accessing the vagus nerve. You can also take a bowl of ice and water and dip your face in for 10 to 15 seconds. You can also dip your feet into cold water or maybe just your hands. You can splash your face with ice cold water. However you want to expose your body to cold, doing this for a few seconds a day consistently will support your vagus nerve and the overall health of your nervous system and help you move through that freeze state, through that burnout state. Hey there, if you're looking for daily somatic practices to add to your toolbox, I'd love to introduce you to my somatic bundle where I guide you through over 30 somatic tools and practices that support your nervous system by creating the safety that your nervous system requires to move out of survival mode. Just click the link in the show notes and you will get immediate access to my library of tools. See you there. Okay, I hope these are helpful for you. Now let's talk about how you can prevent burnout from happening, because we really shouldn't be waiting until we're burnt out and then practicing these tools. We want to get to a point where we're not even falling into burnout. We want to be intentional with how we live our lives and ultimately live a life that supports your nervous system. We want to live a life where taking a vacation is just a bonus to your life as opposed to an escape from your life. So when it comes to preventing burnout, we have to remember that burnout happens when we spend too much time in a sympathetic state of activation, fight or flight. So in order to not live in a sympathetic state and function from a parasympathetic state, we need to honor slowness, like I mentioned earlier. We need to honor our internal and external boundaries. We need to listen to our bodily cues. So for example, if your body is tired, but you also want to work out, it's choosing rest over working out because the mind might be saying, I need to work out, but clearly the body is feeling tired. So it's honoring what the body wants to do, not what the mind is saying. And lastly, it's about being intentional about your daily habits. So everything in your life is either supporting your nervous system or dysregulating your nervous system. Literally everything, from the food you eat, to your relationships, to the content you consume online, to your home and work environment, and the list can go on. So it's being intentional with choosing people, places, food, things in your life that are supporting your body and your nervous system so that your glass isn't empty. And over time, this will become second nature. But for now, it needs to be a very conscious and intentional decision. And I know for some of you, this might feel overwhelming to hear. So I also just want to say that you don't have to do everything at once. Right? So I always say, if you don't have the capacity for much, at least focus on your basic needs. Your basic needs should never be unmet. This is the foundation to a healthy nervous system. So if you're like, I feel overwhelmed listening to all of the things that I quote unquote should be doing, just focus on one thing. And that one thing being meeting your basic needs, food and sleep. And if you are feeling overwhelmed with any of this, or even if you're just wanting more guidance, that's exactly what I'm here to help you with. I want to support you, and I don't want you to feel like you're all alone in this journey, because I was alone in this journey and I had to figure it out all on my own. And I wished I had someone to guide me with all of this when I was healing my nervous system. So if you're wanting more guidance, there are so many ways to work with me. Of course, you know my private somatic experiencing sessions are always available for you. But if you're wanting a more affordable way to receive support and guidance, that is exactly why I created Back Pocket Healing. It's a way to just have me in your back pocket to answer questions you have about your nervous system and receive guidance pretty much at any time as long as I'm available. The other day, one of my members sent me a message at around like 8:30-ish at night. And I just happened to be available because I was working on something. And I saw that message come in and immediately responded back to them. So it's truly a way to get unlimited support and guidance from me when you really need it. So that's Back Pocket Healing. It's $97 a month for unlimited text and voice note support. I will leave the link in the show notes if you're wanting to join our little community over there. Alrighty. That is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I appreciate you so much. And if this episode resonated with you, don't forget to follow, leave a comment, leave a review, or just share the link to this episode with someone who could benefit from it. That is one of the best ways that you can support me and this podcast. Alrighty, I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for joining me today. If you absolutely loved this episode, I would so appreciate it if you subscribed and left a review on Apple Podcast, or take a screenshot and share this episode on social media. The more nervous systems we reach, the more generational cycles we break, and the more we contribute to a kinder and safer world. And if you're looking for somatic healing services, send me a DM and I'd love to chat on how I can support you. I'll see you in the next episode.